Hey everyone, hope you're doing great. And right now I have no time to fucking talk because I have to get into this video right now. Simply because it's a big fucking day, or it's a big period in the year of time where now, I was so goddamn right, because it's clear as daylight that right now is the MrBeast massive PR campaign. Right, so first of all, in this video, I need to clarify, I'll be watching the Oomperville interview that he did, and first of all, I'll give my first thoughts. That's pretty good. For some guy that did an interview with Dogpack, glazing him, making him seem like, a very smart guy that should be listened. I think he had pretty good redemption with his interview with Jimmy. But yeah, I'll get into just a second. But once again, I really have to clarify, I was so goddamn right with not only this interview, and him reaching out to people that talk about the soggy video, but also the most mind-blowing one. There was a fucking Cold Ones episode where they talked talked with Jimmy in Australia, in America. I don't know where they were, but apparently that video they just uploaded yesterday, it was recorded back in June 2024. So when I saw it, mind blown, because Jimmy, with Crohn's disease, drinking on Cold Ones. I think he drank bullshit alcohol, like the Grog's, zero alcohol. But apart from that, not only, he made a video now, but also it was back in June. Again, I'm not gonna get into it, so bizarre that video made that long ago is coming out now. But again, fuck that, completely different story. Let's get into the interview with Jimmy and Oomper, whatever his real name is, Caleb. And I have to admit, the first segment got me rock hard with, him being like, are you gonna sue Dogpack? He's like,
Are you gonna sue Dogpack? Well,
I love that part so much, and I'll get into it as well. But the actual first question, after they put the hand on the Bible, switch God, means absolutely nothing. But yeah, the first question he asks is, why were you so quiet in the beginning? Were you nervous and whatever? And I feel it's a pretty dumb question. It is a nice lube, get into the whole interview smoothly. But apart from that, I always saw since day one, I'm not bothered by the fact Jimmy hasn't made an interview because, yeah, he's a YouTuber, yeah, but he's a huge company, or he's the face of a company. Of course, if it was a much smaller person, some random YouTube Andy, then he probably could make a short video, like, guys, I'm so sorry for hiring Delaware. But he's not, with this kind of person, when they make a response, when they put out a statement, it has to be fact-checked, reviewed by a PR group, to make sure the damage made by it that could happen is mitigated to an absolute point. He says he regrets it, but again, with the amount of accusations that Dogpack was, blitzkrieging on Jimmy, I don't blame him, for not putting a response, because there was so much deep shit on there. But then this next part is so based. He talks about the huge bias on r/YouTube drama, which is so fucking true. And even, I was mentioning as well, in the Oomper's video in description, it's actually documented, more evidence. But, for second information, it's right there that you can click on. And he shows actual example of people on the subreddit being like, guys, I don't feel Dogpack is very reliable. And those posts got fucking taken down by the mods. The most irrefutable sign of just being biased against Jimmy for Dogpack, because he's a god. In that document, there was one post that said, I lost some faith for Dogpack. And it was very tame title, not that massive, not that aggressive. It got 3 comments. And that will get taken down. How and why? I know why, because it doesn't really fit with the narrative of it didn't fit with the narrative at the time of Jimmy being evil, the worst person ever. But even then, why would you care that much, if you were so pissed off by it that you were taken down? When it clearly as well, it had no reaction from people, when it just had 3 comments, that's it. But I should mention now, one question I found weird in the beginning was Oomper asking him he was saying okay, so you regret staying silent, but do you regret doing the external third-party investigation?
so you obviously regret the remaining silent. Would you consider that the third-party investigation as a whole, looking back, would that have been would you say that's a mistake?
I'm like, what? I guess I think it means the reception too, where people say oh, they were paid off by Jimmy. I guess the reception wasn't too good, but I do respect stuff like that because it does show an actual effort to make the company better and an actual concern for the employees, where they don't know, but there might be an actual an actual threat to people, or it might be stuff that make people uncomfortable, and he wants you to get rid of it, that simply. And plus, come on. When you get an external third party to investigate your company, that's clearly like saying, like, you know, okay, I accept any like legal repercussion that, you know, if anything bad happened, I accept it, like, so clearly. And even then he admits when they found, like, you know, bad behavior from some people, he, like, Jimmy didn't fight it, he accepted it and said like, what should I do? Should I fire them? And then they said yeah, so he got rid of them. That's simple, you know, there wasn't really that much fighting. But then after that, another question that I found somewhat weird, interesting, but, you know, weird, like I didn't really care that much about it, was like how Jimmy said, oh yeah, he said himself, he regrets having his mom in the HR because, you know, it did create a conflict of interest, which is true. But I'm just saying right now, if the timeline in my head is correct, where she was in HR, you know, until like the company was massive, you know, then like she got another person, but she was the HR, you know, when the YouTube channel was, you know, tiny, then I don't think it's that bad. Because of course, when you have like a company, mind you, of like 5 people who are all mainly friends, then yeah, any concern someone has with another person would just tell, you know, Jimmy or someone else. So having like a job role that mundane or like, you know, that redundant, being given to like someone like Jimmy's mom, yeah, I don't really care that much. Again, if that timeline is wrong in my head and she actually stayed in the company as HR for way too long when there are dozens of people, then yeah, that would be bad. Because of course any mom would like want to protect the company of a kid. But again, I haven't seen anything to show that, so I'm pretty sure this, you know, once the company got big, she left that, simple as. But one question that I do appreciate from Oompa was saying, how do you feel about Soggy's reaction on Twitter to you pushing his video to everyone, like treating like a shield?
He has criticized you today and last night, I think, you know, to sort of timestamp when this video is being recorded so people know. He said, Soggy has criticized you sharing his video with other YouTubers as a way to shield yourself from criticism, you know, like deeming the video to people. He also expressed feeling used by you, given that you used his video as a strategy to gather favor from the public.
And Jimmy like gave a simple response that, you know, at the time when it came out, he felt very excited, like, you know, finally a video defending him, or not really defending him, but proving like, you know, much of the stuff online is just like misinformation and slander. So of course, you know, like, he got too excited, you know, sent to a bunch of different people. But now he believes that if Soggy saw right now the interview and how he's standing up for himself, like Jimmy's doing it himself, then he probably would feel different. And I agree, because if this drama, if this PR campaign stopped right there with Jimmy like pushing the video to everyone, then yeah, like I said, it would like seem cowardly. But you know, by the sheer fact that he's going on interviews, yeah, it does show like, you know, some spine.
I saw that video and it, you know, disproved. I mean, there are some things in there I don't agree with, and he does go pretty hard on me, so which people seem to forget. But there are a lot of things in there that he disproved, and yeah, I mean, I got excited and shot it over to a bunch of creators who covered the false information, and was just like, look, so
yeah.
I don't think that will be a problem anymore. But obviously, you know, he's not, when he tweeted that, he, you know, doesn't know we were doing this, doesn't know this is coming out. I mean, he might now. I don't, you know, you talk to him, but yeah, so like I don't blame him. You know what I mean? It's a reasonable thing.
But aside from that, he did admit that the comment saying, finally a video without baseless slander, lol, that was gay, and he admits it. But the next part, like, holy shit, like, he actually rectified like the illegal lottery that Soggy mentioned, where, if you remember, you know, a quick rundown, he had an illegal lottery where it made it seem like, you know, you had to buy a hoodie or a t-shirt to get into the lottery. When you didn't, it was free of entry. But he rectified that now by having a link in Oompa's video where if you went to the portal, all you had to do was put your email, put the order number that you bought like years ago. I'm saying that in a good way, because, you know, most people now wouldn't give a shit. But now years forward, if you have some regret of buying it because you didn't really want to, apart from the lottery, now if you still have the order number and the email, you just put it in and he'll give you a refund without like having the hoodie as well. And he even mentions as well that he's not entirely sure if it was illegal, because like there might be some nuance in there. But in the slight chance that it was illegal, or like apart from like he just feels bad, so he put that link in there to refund people for something that happened so long ago that even now people don't really care about. But he does anyway as a nice act to, you know, redeem himself if he, you know, did anything illegal. I mean, I'm not even sure if it is illegal, but, you know, again, like I said, way more on the side of, you know, feeling bad for the fans that bought it, feeling like they had to. But fuck that. The next question, my God, I'm just gonna show it. You have no idea how happy it made me.
Cool. Are you gonna sue Dogpack?
Well, you know, there's tons of examples of him intentionally manipulating things to not be true and posting it online. It's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably gonna have to. I mean, it's just...
Yes. Clap a little bit loud, you know. God, yes. Fucking finally. I've been saying since day one, not day one, more like since day one of, you know, part 3 or part 2 by Dogpack came out, that this dumb moron, this guy without a brain, looking so so smug, he would be fucking sued into poverty, into the fucking slums of whatever third world country he could find after this pathetic moronic display of justice, of tearing down a company. And I appreciate the way that Jimmy was like acting like that guy in Of Mice and Men, where like he doesn't want you to do it, but he has to.
I get the Tinder rap.
But if I was Jimmy, like right there in that interview with Oompa, I would just yell, yes. I mean, for like any baby dribbling, diaper shitting person, they'd be like, oh, him suing Dogpack, a guy that makes no money? That's so awful. But again, for me, I want to see him get sued, not because I'm malicious like him, but it's mostly because it's like seeing someone, like, you know, put their hand on the stove where you don't want him to get hurt, but like every logical sense, they would get hurt if they did that, and they did it. For him, he made video after video. Okay, let's say he made 4 videos, part 1, part 2, part 3, and that company work chart, which was painted in the worst way possible against him. That's like the most clear sign that he will get sued.
Every law firm I've talked to, they're like, this will be the easiest win they've ever seen in their life. I mean, it's like crazy.
And that part as well, that made me so goddamn happy, because I knew since like I said, since part 3, that like there was so much like lack of intelligence, of like, you know, just slandering someone, defaming a person, that of course there's no like natural outcome than being sued. And like I also knew that, you know, since part 2 that he'd be sued because of that simple rape joke, not simple, like pretty fucking bad rape joke against the crew of MrBeast. So yeah, right now I'm not surprised they're getting sued. I knew it for quite a while, but I'm more reveling in it. And also throw Pegasus in there as well, fuck him.
Some fans feel like there is a fine line between philanthropy and using vulnerable people for content. How do you feel about people who think that your videos unintentionally exploit vulnerable people for entertainment?
I think that question is bullshit. I'll give my own answer in a second, but Jimmy's pussy answer saying like how that would depend on video to video. Like, you know, like some video, like, you know, he helps 1,000 blind people, or he does something else. But in reality, I think like that whole response is bullshit, because there's nothing people could find, or, you know, there's something really bad where Jimmy or MrBeast fucks over a vulnerable person. There's no reason to believe that there might be like a variation, or like, you know, him helping people and him taking advantage of vulnerable people. Like, unless he does something really bad, then yeah, that line of, you know, charity and taking advantage of people should be drawn. But so far, nothing bad has happened, so there's no point drawing that line. And also, now to my own answer, the issue, you know, of drawing a line is that the people that, you know, try to like make that imaginary line, they're full of shit. Like, they draw whatever they want and wherever the sense of justice dictates. Like, whenever you ask someone, you know, that hates MrBeast of, you know, of taking advantage of people, the most he can say, before this whole drama, the most he can say is like, you know, oh, he's rich and he's doing it for the views, simply because it's being captured on camera and put in a video.
100% of Feastable's cocoa is fair trade certified, which is expensive. It's basically the most expensive certification you can have on it. Not only are 100% of Feastable's beans fair trade certified, but 100% of them, we also pay a living income reference price, this is why it's hilarious how people are like claiming we unethically source our cocoa. And I'm ready to lay this out, because everyone who said I use slave labor and I don't care, I hope you delete your videos, because you were literally spreading severe disinformation.
Actually fucking based. There's no way you can enforce that, because, you know, like that would take like 100 lawsuits to like take down every video, but that is so fucking true. There is no honor anymore in commentary YouTube.
Friend of the show, Rosanna Pansino, happened to get a moldy lunchly, and a couple other creators got moldy lunchlies, and then that began the claims sprouted out of that. That lunchly had been recalled due to those problems. Okay, yeah, I also like this part around 2 hours in, because I didn't know, like, you know, while Jimmy's there in the interview, that's like incredibly long, they might as well like get everything out there so it can be set in stone. And they bring up like how there's so many, they talk about Lunchley and the whole moldy situation, or, you know, drama.
And like, he gives a pretty reasonable answer, saying how there's so many variables that could lead to like the product being moldly that it really has, like, he has no control. I mean, of course, the stuff that he does control, like the manufacturing, like the making of the product, he takes it, he handles it with the utmost care. So apart from that, once he leaves the factory, he really can't do much.
Once it leaves your factory, you know, a truck that's delivering it could technically take a sharp turn and a box fall and puncture the seal.
I think that's fair. But I feel like the easiest counterpoint to respond to that would be like, oh, then why don't you make the ingredients in the product more safer, like, you know, a tiny bit more processed, you know, it could be like, it can be out of like, you know, freezing units longer and not get fucking mold instantly. And initially, I did believe that, you know, the whole mold stuff was way more of a hate train fabricated by people as, you know, a funny TikTok joke. But I think now, I've seen so often and seeing like Jimmy's response now, I'm slowly stepping down to concede that there probably are prevalent odds of, you know, there being mold in it. And it's probably more of a questioning, you know, of like an internal questioning of, you know, what could be made to make the product safer. I bring down the odds of finding mold way, way down. But I still think people shitting on Launchy will still last quite a while.
People allege that you hired a registered sex offender named Delaware. There's a big whole conspiracy with it. Why did you hire Delaware? And were you aware that he was a sex offender before you hired him?
I don't really have much to say here, but I still think it's valuable. You know, repeating what Dustin Harris said in Soggy's video, where Jimmy, 19, had no idea Delaware was a registered sex offender, and if he did, of course he wouldn't fucking hire him, because he's now a retard. But he included the story of, I don't know who made it, but like how apparently Delaware sat down with Jimmy who was 19 and his mom back like 7 or 8 years ago from now, and he explained to them his background of being a registered sex offender.
There's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening. And when I read that tweet, the first thing I did was I called my mom and I was like, hey, this is like 7 or 8 years ago. Just put this in context. 7 or 8 years ago, not indicative of my company today, but I was like, did this happen? Because someone's claiming this happened. My mom said, I would have literally quit or honestly probably shut the business down before I ever let my teenage son hire a registered sex offender knowingly.
So there you go. I'm fine with that response. There's something that sticks out. So fast forward more after 2 hours. He talks about Jake Weddle, same shit, nothing new. And he talks about like the MrBeast lawsuit, the MrBeast show lawsuit. Here's one section I don't really know the most about, but he clarifies like how most of the incidents where contestants described as unsafe conditions on set were more so caused by isolated interaction between employees that probably weren't acting the smartest. Like one story brought up like how one woman was given tampons, but she was allergic to like that one specific product, so she has to employ for another one. And instead of going to like, you know, a store to buy a different one for her, there wasn't much that she actually did. So yeah, of course, no signs of Jimmy intentionally making like an unsafe set for the show, you know, to save money. It was more so just unfortunately accidents that could happen when you have, you know, 2,000 contestants on a show. And even apart from that, with the lawsuit, where most of the details aren't being revealed yet, like still private, there are still just fucking lies going around, like he said, with, you know, people breaking the bones, which he verified as like there wasn't, like it's just a lie again, and employees not getting paid, even though they have, and he made sure of it. And this part specific, I can even tell like in Jimmy, the years of internet bullshit have been festering in him, and now being justified, you can talk about it and like how insane the lies are being spread by people for the sake of being malicious or being believed by people that can't even do like basic due diligence or research. And that makes the interview like just fucking insane. It's not the end of the interview, because then after they recorded on set, they Oompa called him the next day again to like get more questions. And that makes me feel like this interview was a tiny bit rushed, because there were more questions like the Shadman poster by Chris and the crypto stuff, which feels like, you know, very big questions that was brought up, but then they only realized after, oh shit, we forgot about it. So yeah, you know, but I mean, they still included in, so, you know, I don't really mind. But again, like, you know, those questions were so big, I feel like you would have wrote it down on the first day to talk about on set. But yeah, moving past that, the first question he asked him on the phone was, why was Chris's poster from Shadman, or, you know, like of Shadman's art, put up on your walls in your own house? He talked like how back then, it's very cringy, he used to like buy a lot of like anime posters and put like all over the wall. And then, you know, Chris came over one day and he put that as one there, you know, like one tiny one or one medium-sized one, and, you know, stuck it up there.
Just like set a foundation for context. We used to have a bunch of anime posters and things like that on our wall in the house. And one day, Ava put up this poster that was like an animated character holding a fidget spinner and a gun. Admittedly, it was a weird image. I didn't know who made it. You know, I just kind of assumed it was a meme. Yeah, knowing what I know about Chapman now, it was a very weird thing to buy. I'm not really sure why she bought it. You know, I had like Naruto posters up, or I had like Code Geass posters, like random animes I used to watch. And like, you know, I never like reversed image search and Googled, oh, who made this Code Geass anime poster that's sitting on the wall or whatever. I don't, you know, I don't. Your first instincts when you just see a poster is not to just go, "Who made that?" and deep dive them. So
are they a pal? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of his response, I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, you know, most anime shit is very cringy because it's full of like, you know, young girls drawn in weird ways that makes people feel iffy. But even then, like, if some friend put up a poster, like the one that Shadman drew for the design, I feel like even then, like, if I was Jimmy, I'd look at that and be like, take it the fuck down, it looks weird and looks gay. But now comes the crypto stuff, which could probably been put in the first interview, but fuck it, who cares, it's here now. And the most damning thing from Coffee's video to show like Jimmy did have some control over his crypto wallet was a conversation between him and Logan on his podcast where Gary V called him like, hey, go do this, and he made him buy CryptoPunks, and he actually made the transaction himself. So that did make it seem like he had some control over it. But then Jimmy clarifies like how in reality he did actually, when that story happened, he did actually call the guy that manages the wallet, the Wu-Tang Clan wallet, and told him to quickly buy CryptoPunks. And I can buy that bit. Apart from the story that Coffee included in his video, there really isn't like anything else that showed that Jimmy had like full control over it, or like, you know, a big degree of it. Because, you know, I can also buy that because, you know, when you're talking about a story on a podcast, you probably want to focus on the key points and, you know, cut out the semantics, you know, oh, well, actually, there's some other guy that I told you buy it, because, you know, it makes the conversation more dragged out and boring. But in contrast, I do think his explanation for the super tweet, you know, that boosted the crypto on Twitter was a bit weird. Because essentially, I think he was trying to say like how he saw that tweet from, you know, the crypto profile on his timeline. He saw it real quick, and he made a very quick response, you know, just putting a simple, you know, super and an emoji. And then the guy who manages the wallet saw it blow up after he made that reply, without knowing the reply, you know, boosted it, and he sold it. So it was sort of like an accidental coordination where it wasn't planned. But yeah, I agree. You probably shouldn't use like your huge profile on Twitter as MrBeast to platform like another crypto account that, you know, you're invested in and, you know, could be affected by what you say about them. Right, but now I come to my last point: the crypto charity. I'm doing the okay hand signals, and I probably have, like, in terms of like all the other points I have on this list, this might be the one I have wrong, because I went back to it like 3 times, so I could rewatch it, and I'm not sure like I get the whole picture, but I feel like I have most of it right. So from Jimmy's explanation, he's working with crypto charity, and the guy who manages the Wu-Tang Clan wallet was given a coin that he was meant to hold on to for quite a while. But then as time passed on, it seemed that, you know, like the whole charity, it sort of flopped, because, you know, after some time they made like, you know, $7,000, and it seemed like it was going nowhere. So then after a month or 2, he sold it when it seemed like, you know, I was gonna have no hope, and he made $2 million off it.
The charity drop happened. One sold, the other ones weren't selling. No one cared. So there was no selling of NFTs to raise money for charity anywhere near where the fund was selling before or after. People could technically still have bought those NFTs, but no one did, because it just basically, no one cared. So I just don't feel like that's a fair criticism. Like, they gave Team C some NFTs to raise money. One sold, no one cared, and then it just basically died. And then just under a month later, yeah, it looks like the fund sold some tokens, completely unrelated to all of this.
So I think after all of that, you know, and that explanation, I think Jimmy should probably find a better guy to manage the wallet who's not as money hungry, Oh, because that's why, like in the interview with Oompa, I don't think they bring up the fund that he was working with, like the guy managing the wallet, where he agreed with someone with a big fund to hold into your coin, and then he sold it off for a profit at the expense of that fund being furious. So yeah, probably get someone better who's less cutthroat, and don't boost crypto coins on your Twitter that has millions of followers. But again, like in the actual interview, my only gripe, like I said, was I seemed a bit rushed. And it's not big of an issue because as long as they had like a Google Doc with more explanation, like a post interview call, with you asking the Shadman poster question and the crypto stuff, I think it's not that bad of an issue. But again, it probably felt like more natural if they were down the set, they had everything planned, and they knew way more about CoffeeZill's video. Because again, I really feel like Jimmy's design with this video, with his interview with Oompa, was that he wanted to like say everything about the story so that people could watch it, and what he said, like his side of the story would finally be set in stone, and people would just accept it and move on. Some people may not accept it initially because they just fucking hate Jimmy and MrBeast, but I really hope this interview will stand the test of time, where maybe a year later or 2 years later, people will look back at it and be like, yeah, the whole dog pack drama was so bizarre, why the fuck do people believe it? Because it's stuff like this where, if you want people, to be protected and, not be slandered by other people by just misinformation and lies. So dramas like this should be used as an example where people see something massive and they don't instantly believe it. They look into it, see the evidence and make their own opinion rather than watching, like a 20-minute long Pegasus video just spreading bullshit. But otherwise, this whole story could happen to another person much smaller than Jimmy and have their life ruined by just slanderous stuff and malicious misinformation that simply if people don't avoid it.